route and some skill on display with the South Africans. And that win seen earlier by New Zealand makes them the first team to officially qualify for the quarterfinals. South Africa cannot do that today, but we expect it will come down to a showdown with Samoa. In the meantime, their first international meeting with Georgia, one of the minnows in the world of rugby.
Oh, you said it, one of the minnows, Gilligan, and it's going to be a slaughter today. Obviously, South Africa is going to come and cement their road to the quarterfinals by using Georgia as a speed bump.
Not the 3-hour tour that Georgia had in mind. What about the changes in the lineup? Very intriguing at South Africa. 14 new bodies in the lineup after a disappointing effort against England.
Yeah, and none more significant than the changes they've made at halfback, particularly their fly half there, Louis Kuhn, on the bench because of all the points he left on the field against England. Really a disastrous kicking display against the English for an international fly half, and he only compounded the problems by being blocked here by the England flanker, Lewis Moody, and then Greenwood showing the great soccer skills to tow it forward and dive on it for 5 points.
Players to watch, yeah, one of them is well, Louis Kuhn is not in the lineup, and he's a guy that's kicking less than 50% from penalties and converts.
Shocking for the South African fly half. But Neil de Kock at scrum half coming in to add some zip to their attack, and they've paired him with Derek Hogard at fly half, replacing Louis Kuhn. I'm looking for Brayton Paulsa coming back from injury to be really exciting on the wing for the South Africans today.
Well, Georgia, an 80-point underdog, but despite that, they will put their best defense forward because that's what they do best.
Yeah, they've been really gritty. You've got to give it to the Georgians. And, you know, unfortunately, you don't get points for consonants and vowels in your name. But if they did, they'd be on the scoreboard by quite a bit now. But they're just gritty. They don't realize that they're a small team and they're not supposed to compete with some of the bigger nations. They just never say die. So I'm looking at their halfback pairing as well. Irakli Modebadze at scrum half to get any limited ball they do get out to their fly half, Paliko Imshiladze, and they can use that, maybe kicking it behind the South Africans to turn them around. If they get it outside to Archil Katarashvili, maybe they'll get some offense going as well.
So you see what this means in the Pool C standings, where England's expected to go through in top spot, so it will come down to the matchup between South Africa and Samoa. And certainly the bonus point will come today for South Africa, so by the time this day is through, they will be tied atop the pool. But how about that game? Let's look ahead, because this is going to be a whitewash over Georgia, South Africa, and Samoa right now. What do you see? That one shaking down a week Saturday.
Yeah, week Saturday. I'm looking forward to it because the Samoans really have built and built. They've got some momentum going into this game, whereas the South Africans, I hate to say it, they are one of the world powers in the game, but they've been chopping and changing their side. They're still experimenting. 14 changes from that loss to England. So not only is that taken away from their continuity, but the confidence of the players going into that big match next week won't be there because they can't read their coach's mind. He keeps changing the team all the time.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a head game given the fact that he knows they're going to win anyway. They could dress 10 players and probably beat Georgia today. So we'll come back with the national anthems and get you set for the opening lineup, and expect some skill on display from South Africa against Georgia when we come back.
I learned that if you like sex, don't get your wife a toaster for her birthday. And I learned about Weiser's, the full-flavored whiskey.
Time and weather can make concrete look bad. Fix it with Techstone Granite by Beauty Tone. Only at Home Hardware and Home Building Center. An easy way to beautify and protect steps, balconies, floors, walls for as little as $1.70 a square foot in 3 simple steps. Prime with granite primer, trowel on Techstone Granite, sealing. For a slip-resistant surface that stands up to water, salt, and lots more. Now that's a step in the right direction. Techstone Granite by Beauty Tone, only at Home Hardware.
At home, we believe in making a difference in our communities. Purchase Buddy Bear for $19.97 at Home Hardware, and you'll be supporting the Hospital for Sick Children Foundation. At Home Hardware, health is close to home.
2004 Toyota 4Runner. Where will it take you?
Ready for action is South Africa, and the point spread just dropped to 79, so it must be late action on Georgia.
We just had a shot of the fireman there, Brayton Paulsa making his return to international rugby as we look at the South African side. Captained today by John Smith at hooker, an exciting player. Hasn't played a lot of rugby since 2001, but he's back, and he'll be coming back with a vengeance.
Georgia's goal simply to stay close and earn some respect on the international stage, and they will do that with this lineup. And whoa! There's a lot of letters involved.
There's a lot of letters there, Alex. But their captain in the center, Vasil Kasadze, he will try to be leading their troops, shore up their defense, and give them the right options on offense.
Jamie Salmon, Mark Robson, we'll see you at halftime.
The South African side spent 3 days on a team-bonding survival camp deep in the bush after their racial controversy from the original training camp, where they were building shelters and hunting for food. Tonight, they're hunting for tries, and they're hunting for a lot of them. Immediately, the ball taken by Danny Rosso, who scored a try against Uruguay, the Blue Bulls player. And Hohart gets it clear, but the ball is knocked forward by the number 8 for Georgia, Chikadze, John Chikadze, the 22-year-old. Great hope in Georgian rugby he is, but a nervous start for the man from Begla Bordeaux.
Well, maybe a fairly nervous time in the front row for Georgia as well, because obviously South African pack is heavier, and I suspect they're going to be pretty useful tonight, as they were against England last week.
Very inexperienced front row, as you say. Bursting through the centre is Werner Grief. And that's the call. Playing advantage to the Georgians. Good news for them. So they'll get the scrummage back there for the original knock-on. That's Lawrence Sapaka, the loose head for South Africa.
Not the best start from South Africa. One missed touch and some loose hands. They've got to retain their focus. They're expected to win this game, obviously, very comfortably. But it's a question of their mental capability to retain their focus and their discipline and their shape.
Thank you. Chikadze, Mobaradze coming into the line. It's Max Connelly. Irakli Max Connelly. Good pace inside the South African 22. Playing advantage though to the Springboks. Well, yeah, not releasing, and maybe the support wasn't quite there quick enough for Max Connelly. It might have surprised the Georgian players to see the fullback streaking through like that on his first start for his country.
Well, it's something that England didn't do too often last weekend, if I remember correctly, and it was a glorious break, and it was only Van Niekerk who got back there to make the covering tackle. There he is there. Now, I thought he should have been on his feet, Van Niekerk, to play that ball, so I thought he was rather fortunate to get the penalty, to be frank. But a great start from Georgia, and it goes to what Francois was saying about organisation, having teams, regular teams selection done on a proper basis rather than these, compilations.
John Smith taken by Selborn Boom. Brayton Paulsa in off the left wing. The car. Hoopart. It's John Smith.
By advantage. 2 on from the side.
Advantage from Dickinson. De Kock. This time it's Jacques Fleury. But he's going to go back to the original penalty as Stuart Dickinson, but they don't look as if they know each other terribly well so far, South Africa, do they?
Must be an interesting bonding trip.
Build enough shelters.
I think this is the right decision. The crowd don't like it, but in the proper test match, that's exactly what the captain would do, is go for goal. As we see what the penalty was hopefully for, probably wrong side of the rack. But I think it's the right decision to go for a penalty. They've got big test matches coming up, and in those games you would go for goal to get points on the board, settle the team down, because it's certainly not been the best of starts from South Africa. Basic errors they've made.
Well, he can kick a bit. Hohart, 26 points in the 2002 Currie Cup final, but only 1 from 3 conversion attempts against Uruguay. That's successful though, and South Africa take the lead after 3 minutes and 42 seconds. South Africa 3 and Georgia 0. Didn't cross the England line, of course, South Africa, but managed 12 tries against Uruguay, and that 72 points to 6 victory in Perth. Restart by Jim Shaladze, the most capped Georgian of all time, and that's gathered for South Africa by Bakis Botha to Cock. Back of the left wing is Kavtarashvili, an advantage to South Africa.
Pass forward by Georgia first.
But it's been a very scrappy start. South Africa, well, just about in the ascendancy, but not looking to be in control particularly at the moment. But it's early days in that big front row of Sepaka, Schmidt and Van Rottenbach.
It's a good kick by de Kock from the base of the maul from the kickoff. Put pressure on the Georgian defence. That's the sort of kick you want, where your own players can challenge for the ball, which Ter Blanche did.
Georgia holding up well in that scrummage. Huhart, and there's a 3-1 on the outside. It wasn't a great pass though. That's a good run by the fullback, Ricardo Loubser. Kock wants the ball, and the referee says that's okay, and it's Katsadze who's won the ball back, the captain. The ball was out, so well played by the man who's built like a flanker, Vasil Katsadze. Modorbadze to Jim Shaladze.
Biggest cheer of the night so far. Well played, Georgia, well defended. Not good control by South Africa.
Well, this Georgian side has conceded 18 tries in the tournament so far. They're the only team that hasn't scored one. World rank 17. If they could score a try tonight, well, would make for great celebrations in Tbilisi. Taken by Bakis Botha. This is Huhart again. Again, that mismove in the centre, but bringing the big men in. That's Rosso. Huhart. Long pass. Oh, and upended there was Hendro Schultz. Big tackles from the Georgians. And it's something we've seen, having watched the IRB World Sevens over the years, that they are huge tacklers, the Georgians. One of the few Sevens teams in the world to use the rolling ball as an attacking weapon.
Down and up, and Schultz certainly knows he's in a game now. It was the wrong option from him because there was plenty of South Africans out left, and it was just a question of take it and give it out left to a couple of speedsters. But we'll think about it again next time.
Great tackle by George Seglari on his international debut, just 22 years of age, the medical student. And this is the inexperienced hooker in his first start, Dadunashvili. So he'll be nervous, trying to find his man, and it's been robbed by Selborne Boone. Polsa playing scrum half. Huhart. Thumping boot from Huhart, but it's taken by Max Canelli, more used to playing on the wing, so he's out of position today. But he's made a pretty good start at fullback as Max Canelli, and he gets the bounce. Well, that's just outside the 22. Indecision there in that Springbok defence. Now they're reorganised though. That's Dandushvili, the hooker, trying to make yardage. The tackling's good. Jim Shaladze, advantage to Georgia on the South African 22. Might have a drop at goal here because they've got the penalty anyway, or they might just move it wide. Here's Katsadze, 108 kilograms of captain to stop. Not easy to do. Now Modorbadze, great rugby here from Georgia. Chikadze takes it on. Again, these minor sides do show how well coached they are. Claude Sorel is the man who handles them, the Frenchman, the former Bezier flanker. Modorbadze using the back row. It's Bolgashvili. They're not getting too far, Georgia, through the phases, but they're retaining possession well. Modorbadze, Jim Shaladze trying an England-type tactic. Oh, that could very easily have worked, you know, because there was indecision in the air. It was Kavtarashvili, the left winger for Georgia, who really, if he'd watched the ball a bit more closely, might well have been underneath it, because the disorganisation in South African defence there was was nonsensical for a side of this class.
But this whole passage of play started unbelievably by South Africa allowing a high ball to bounce just outside their 22, which was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And to be fair to the Georgians, they put it through 6-7 phases of play, which is a great effort and a great testimony to the coaching drills that they've been through over the last couple of weeks. And certainly South Africa are not having things their own way, and it's largely due to their own making.
Well, this is a side that has had to cancel coaching sessions and a tour to Europe because of lack of funding. A poorer nation than Romania. That didn't look straight. Whistle's gone. No, not straight. Pity.
Nice idea. Good idea. Went the 5 metres, but unfortunately not straight. It's a fair decision. Replay, I have to say.
Wait for them. Wait for them to come up.
Yeah, they had to cancel a pre-cup camp at the end of July, a tour of Canada as well. And the word was they were camping in tents, the Georgians, instead of staying in hotels. Canelli picks up. My goodness, he's looked sprightly. Lost forward, but tried to regather the ball there for Georgia was Sergio Giergadze, who came into the team at the last minute for Irakli Gundishvili.
For this Mats Canelli, he certainly had one glorious break on the blind side, and he certainly runs hard and straight, doesn't he? Looks a good athlete. Ball presentation, not the best perhaps.
Gadzi waits. They've got to use it. That's spun, but the ball's out now. Gets help from St. Larry. Pick up and drive from number 5, Didi Bulidze. Scragged back by St. Larry, who's had a good game. And now here's the open side. Bulgashvili. Mudaradze. Katsadze. Big bullish man in midfield. Always makes yards. Gets to that gain line. Mudaradze, Jim Shaladze. Oh, and poor handling in midfield. Did it go forward? It did off the hand of Mark Belashvili, but it didn't matter because Lawrence Sepaka was caught offside. So Georgia have a chance to equalise.
Yes, it very much looks like Sepaka, the prop, was the man who was picked out, and the Georgians electing to go for goal. And unlike South Africa, the crowd think it's a marvellous decision.
Paleko Jim Shaladze, who scored all 9 points in the Rugby World Cup so far, including one drop goal. And like so many of these Georgians, even the out half is an ex-wrestler. They're pretty tough guys. .230 points he has in his career.
One of those ones where the crowd will tell you, I think. If it goes over, you'll hear it a long way out of Sydney.
Welcome to Tbilisi. This could be more interesting than we at first thought.
There'll be a few people that get involved in the spread betting world that will be particularly uncomfortable at the moment, I suspect, because the odds were certainly not in favour of this sort of scoreline after this stage of the game. Just nearly 30 minutes played.
Well, they do love their rugby. They support the IRB World 7 Series. They reached the semi-finals in South Africa. And that's a knock forward by Jim Shaladze. So they cannot afford to make those basic errors because a team like South Africa should capitalise. And here's a chance for them now through the hands. Jacques Fury. De Kock. And driving in and driving towards the line for a try is Danny Rosso. And it did come from that elemental error from the Georgian halfback, Jim Shaladze, dropping a simple ball. South Africa capitalise, and that's more of what we expected from them. South Africa 8, Georgia 3.
Well, it's bad defensive organisation by Georgia. Rosso took his chance well, ran hard and straight. He's a big lad for a 7, I have to say. that hopefully will settle the South Africans down. As you say, it did come from a Georgian mistake from the kick-off, which was probably too deep. But they certainly needed to quieten the crowd down, I think, after that penalty by Georgia.
Derek Hogarth then with the conversion attempt. And it's 100% so far from him. Danny Rossouye is big for a flanker. He plays lock forward as well for Blue Bulls, and it's his second try of this 2003 Rugby World Cup. Well, the Samoan management saying this morning they've really targeted South Africa as a potential victory in this pool. They don't think it's going to be one-sided at all. They think England are pretty much unbeatable, but they think they've seen enough weaknesses in the South African team to maybe get a pool win against them. Although I know it'll be a totally different Springbok side that plays against the Samoans.
Yes, it will be, but I think the Samoans will run South Africa very, very close indeed. And if they start the game against Samoa like they've started this one, they're in for a hell of a game.
Remember, it's a much weakened Samoan side. Guys like Trevor Leota not making the trip. De Kock. Letting the ball bounce was Kavkarashvili. Really quickly enough back, but the back row has helped him out well, and it's more good work from Siklari on his debut. He's looked sharp in this opening 15 minutes. It's a fine clearing kick from Jim Shaladze. Probably still feeling a little bit guilty after that knock on, which really ruined what had been a quite exceptional start from Georgia, which is indicated by the time and possession.
Oh, absolutely, they've competed, and they've competed well. It has been those unenforced errors that from both sides really that's caused the points to be conceded.
Well, they're so proud of the game in Georgia. They played a rugby light game called Lelo Berta, or try-ball, since before the birth of Christ. So very clearly invention of the game. William Red Ellis, nothing to do with him. De Kock. Try score. Danny Rossouye really has a strong, well, he plays for the Blue Bulls and he's a bullish runner. Taken on by Rautenbach, the massive tight head. De Kock. Hogarth. Numbers here for South Africa. Selborne Boom. Good tackle again by Siklari. Presentation for the Kock. The ball is out. The referee says play on again. It's good refereeing by him and good vision by the Georgians. Just keeping the pressure on. And Rautenbach has to go back. Now it's the right winger, Stefan Terblons. The very experienced Stefan Terblons finds his captain, John Schmidt, on the halfway line. Georgia holding on. Getting rucked ferociously for their pains. Terblons. Selborne Boom. De Kock. Hogarth. Into midfield through Werner Grief. And gets support outside. And support outside comes in the big form of Bakis Botha. The second row, thumping second row forward, advantage to South Africa. And again, they've made the error. Fancy the whistle will go as Sapaka knocks forward. So Dickinson will bring them back into the 22. And there's a couple of Georgians down, hurt. The referee wants play stopped just for a second.
In on the side was the ruling from the referee there against Georgia. But South Africa did not look comfortable at all. They don't look comfortable with ball in hand, to be frank with you. There doesn't appear to be great penetration in the midfield. Certainly, Selborne Boom was on the right wing for some odd reason, outside Stefan Terblanche. If I was Terblanche, I'd ask him to move inside pretty quick.
Good little line-out move. Fine tackle by the scrum half, Modar Badze, on John Schmidt. Now to Kock, now to Hogarth. Can they find any way through the midfield? It's Werner Grief. Advantage again to South Africa. And this time they might get through. Yes, they do. Derek Hogarth, the out half. It was simple as you like. It's a second try for South Africa.
Well, this is the man, they reckon, that can take South Africa forward, as we see Bakis Botha. on the previous play. Referee was playing advantage. And as the ball comes out, certainly the try scorer, Ho, just watch the way he changes his line. Comes in on a much straighter line, makes a late decision, and that gets him through the gap. Under the sticks, and he'll convert it pretty easily for the 7 points. It took its time coming, but when it went there, he came in pretty straight.
And that's the conversion. So a pretty happy opening to this game for Derek Huhart, who came in for the squad for Andre Pretorius. South Africa 17, Georgia 3. Georgia actually saving a lot of their first choice players for the match against Uruguay, because that's a game in this pool they feel they can win, isn't it?
Absolutely, that's their cup final. They don't want the wooden spoon in this group.
Georgia's record defeat was the game against England a short while ago in this Rugby World Cup, when they conceded 12 tries. They've conceded 2 so far, but they've looked pretty good. But for how long can they keep it up?
Well, that's the problem. Is that the physical fitness will take its toll the longer the game goes on. In the last 20 minutes, I'm afraid the floodgates will certainly open. Will probably been opened already, but that's going to take its toll.
Huhart. Back goes Matt Canelli, and pinpoint from Huhart. Playing for a place in the big team, if you like.
I'm not sure that Rudolf Strali, the Springbok coach, is in the mood to experiment with a 20-year-old at fly half, to be frank with you. He obviously knows him far better than I do. As far as I'm concerned, if he's playing better than the other guy, then he gets in. But he may not look at it that way.
Georgia play Uruguay on the 28th of October. South Africa, Samoa on the 1st of November. A good take in front of the line out by Giorgadze, the 6'6" second row forward. Georgia would have been playing Test rugby since 1989. They won their first Test against Zimbabwe by 16 points to 3, and they've only been a member of the IRB for 11 years. So the strides they've made have really been in that time quite remarkable. Not that long ago since they achieved independence from the USSR. And they hate the Russians, apparently, when these two teams meet. It is pandemonium. The take at the tail by Van Niekerk. Look at that for a drive. That's a 22. The Georgians 22, taken on again by Bakkies Buda. South Africa using Buda and Selburne Boom on the burst, and there's no infringement there. They're 10 metres short. It's good presented ball for Rothenbach. 5 metres short, the Springboks. Here's the cock. Huhart. Danny Rosso, and a try for South Africa. It's the number 8, Joe Van Niekerk, one of the remaining players from the game against England, who scores the Springboks' 3rd try. And it was all about creating the extra man. The Georgian defence was sucked in.
It was also about facing passing abilities as well. And that was Scholz who had the big run, and it was quick ball. That helped as well. Or quicker ball, I shouldn't say. It's not the quickest. Rautenbach obviously takes 2 or 3 to bring him down. The cop knows it's going left, and it's basically draw the man, pass. Draw the man, pass. Thank you very much. Try time.
Good score for the former captain of the South African under-21s, that superb South African under-21 side. It included players like Jacques Fury, who's playing tonight, and Jean de Villiers. Well, if Lewis Kuhn had picked against England the way Huhart was kicked tonight, he might have pushed Clive Woodward's man. Different temperature, of course, in terms of atmosphere and importance of match.
Well, as the old saying is, that you can't practice pressure. It'll be interesting to see what he's like under it, as we see the repeat of the try. And another highly promising player, Van Niekerk, goes over. I'm not sure he's going to play later on in the tournament, so that's an interesting selection as well.
Yeah, plays on the flank as well. There's Joe Van Niekerk. Move to number 8 for this game. That's Huhart once more. Jovan Neerkirk gets the ball to Jacques Fury. Good midfield defence by the Georgians, though, and penalty for coming in off the feet, over the top, and a chance for the Georgian forwards to rest, I fancy, as Jim Shiladze will probably go for goal. Don't forget, coming up on ITV1 tomorrow morning from 9:25 a.m, the Pride of the Valleys, Wales, are in Canberra for their clash with the Cappuccino Cowboys, Italy. And that will be followed on the same channel at 11:30 by the Pool B crunch match between France and Scotland. All coming up exclusively live from your home of the 2003 Rugby World Cup ITV, the website itv.com/RWC. And of course, Jim Shiladze has gone for the line out. Now, Dadunashvili needs to find his man this time, and he's done it. It's well taken by Siklari. What a good game he's had. The Georgians love to maul the ball, and the drive forward is a strong one indeed by Georgiadze. They still managed to gain control there. It's Didi Bulidze at the hub of things in that maul, down the blind side. 5 metres short, the Georgians. Remember, they haven't scored a try in this Rugby World Cup. Muderbadze waits. They pick up and drive through Chikadze. It's good defence by Rosso. Looks to have been injured there in that challenge. Danny Rosso, one of the try scorers. And down the blind side again they go. Pick up by Dadunashvili, but obstruction is given by Stuart Dickinson. Boos all round Tbilisi Central here in Sydney. And that's a pity, because they were well formed there, they were well organised. Full control of that ball and keeping the box under a lot of pressure there.
Yes, they certainly were, but to be fair to the Springboks, they held out well. They certainly know how to get the crowd on the side, the Georgians, by going for touch rather than goal. It was eminently kickable, as we see the replay of the rolling maul, which has attracted a lot of comment in this World Cup, mainly the way England do it, and Neil Back in particular, and whether he's actually bound to it at the back of the maul. Their problem was they were trying to restart the maul, and that's what caused the problem with Stuart Dickinson, the referee.
You've got to maintain momentum, and this chap, 24 years of age, was right at the hub of that. Sergo Georgiadze, who plays for the Compiègne club in France, which is in Paris. Flew from Paris late on to replace Gundishvili. That's the tight head prop, Aleko Marvelashvili, who began against England. Again, he plays in France, 135 kilograms, and another former wrestler, John Schmidt. That's Van Neerkirk. Keep those legs pumping, that's the key. Like a runaway locomotive, that South African pack there, that's impressive. So draining for the Georgian defenders too. South Africans will all round be a much fitter outfit. That's Stukot. Hoo-ha. Werner Greif knocked forward, Georgian advantage. Cheer goes round the Aussie Stadium again.
And if you're a South African forward and you've just mauled it 25 yards up the pitch, and you see the backs drop it forward, eminently catchable, you have to say. Werner Greif was the guilty party.
It's the third match here. 2 more, including Scotland against Fiji, and Fiji will fancy themselves for that one after their scintillating victory against the Japanese last night. That's Chikadze. Muderbadze. Poor pass from the inexperienced scrum half. Learning his trade. Here he is again. Muderbadze, Jim Shiladze. Katsadze. 17 stone centre. See, he's hard to stop, isn't he? He really is massive. Watched them train yesterday. I thought he was one of the props when he came out on his training kit, and turned out to be the midfield general. Muderbadze, Jim Shiladze. It's not a good pass from him, but it's picked up by Iloshvili. Play on, says the referee. Now he's going to bring them back, because it's offside, I think, against South Africa, and it's a penalty pretty much in front of the post.
Last week, never got back.
Decision time for Katsadze, the captain. I'll get points on the board. Get another big cheer for your team. There's a bit of... Yeah, he's going for goal. Shaladzi's going for goal. Referee explaining to South Africa why he's penalised them. But there's no question that the second half is going to be particularly demanding for the Georgians. Just the physical fitness levels are vastly different between a true professional side like South Africa and the Georgians, who obviously don't get together that often.
Cheer, as you say, will lift the Georgian side. Yeah, Claude Sorrell, the coach of Georgia, has done a fine job. His 6th season with the nation. Flanker for Béziers, and coached them to the French Championship. Also coached Morocco for a couple of years, and he's helped develop Georgian rugby by moving as many players as possible into the French system.
Well, that's what they need. They need that week-by-week experience at club level, whatever level it is, at a higher level, to make the players better, both individually and collectively.
Dundashvili gets a scamper. That's Canelli. It's a cracking kick. It really is. I beg your pardon, it's Jim Shaladze, but what a great boot from him. Not a bad return, but Georgia taking it quickly. That's Canelli. That's good clearing out by the scrum half there, Motorbadze. And Georgia getting a penalty, so there's much to hearten the Georgians in this first half hour.
There certainly is. I mean, there's Scholz having a bit of a moan about the decision, but South Africa aren't helping themselves, I have to say. There isn't the same intensity in the Springbok side there was obviously against England, and that's just a mental thing. That's just mental preparation and how you go out on the park. And South Africa have not fronted like they did against England, to a degree, understandably, as we see the latest penalty going against Scholz, the blindside flanker for South Africa. Hand in the ruck. But you wouldn't have thought many of these South Africans are really going for a place in their top test side, would you? It's a great opportunity for them.
Yeah, you would. As you saw, there's a lack of intensity. Kopoliani in the scrum half, and Motorbadze have been mixed after him. This man has been playing well so far. That looked forward for Canelli, but advantage to South Africa. And that's Rosso. De Kock. Open back. Back is Buta. He's tackled by Giorgadze. De Kock. Oh, and it's poor hands from Stéphane Terblanche. And Stéphane Terblanche is wrapped up. Georgian advantage, but it is really scruffy stuff.
The ball before that, South Africa got the ball back and standing at fly half, not this one, the one before, that's Terblanche knocking it forward. The guy who took it at fly half position was out about the prop. What on earth is a prop doing in his 22, taking it from a maul? That sort of basic lack of organisation is just not acceptable for a top side like this. It really isn't. Good position this. I suspect they'll go down the blindside or the right-hand side, which is the easiest way to go. And Canelli, the fullback, is hovering.
He is hovering, and Jim Shaladze is a noted drop goal exponent. Maybe he's not quite standing deep enough in the pocket for a drop and goal. But I'd like to see Canelli coming into the line again, because he looks like he's got electric pace. He's an exciting player.
They might need a channel one ball though, quick ball in the scrum, because I think South Africa will really go for a big scrum this time.
Well, it's quick enough, and it's Chikadze, but they were really under pressure there. Drive on by Iloshvili. So they've got to regroup a little bit here, and it's taken on by the massive prop forward, Mark Velashvili. Jim Shaladze misses out, finds Dundashvili in midfield. Stéphane Terblanche tries to rip the ball from his arms. Motorbadze. Oh, Jim Shaladze loses the ball forward. So it's accidental, but there was a line in the paper this morning, I thought it was quite amusing, that George Bush had flown into Australia to watch Georgia play, and then he found out it was the wrong one. And went home again.
Sure, the Americans are very good at their geography.
Yeah. Actually, George Bush played the odd game of rugby at Harvard. Little people know that.
Well, it was actually Yale he went to rather than Harvard. But
Don't tell me that. Well, he played rugby at university there. I'll bury you later. But I will. There's an injury though, and it doesn't look too good for Dadunashvili. So you can see they're just 21 years of age, and a lot of youth in this second 15 for the Georgians. Mother Badzi, the scrum half, he's only 22. It's hard to tell what happened in there, but when the front row collapses, shoulders pop and all sorts of nasty things go on. But the loosehead Kopaliani, he's also just 21 years of age, so you know, vast experience in there. And you know, at this level, it's basically, you know, in the front row against the Springboks, that's 2 kids, isn't it?
well, and as you say, they're not first choice in the Georgian squad. This is the staggering thing about it. These guys are, you know, didn't think they'd get a game against South Africa. But a lot of concerns for South Africa. There's not many of their guys stepping up to the plate here, I don't think. I mean, they're going to win this game very comfortably and by 40-50, I'm sure. But, you know, after half an hour, 24-6, in the manner in which they played, pretty average.
And that's a dreadful pass from Cock, and Huhar just complete misunderstanding. And if you want to get into the Springbok team as first choice halfbacks, you've got to knit together a little bit better than that.
Well, it was from a set piece as well. You've got time to be organised. It's not as if it's from, you know, quick play or broken play or anything like that. And not very good.
Really are feeling the heat of the scrummage, though. Jim Shiladze has to go back under all sorts of pressure. Match Canelli. Not a great kick from inside the 22, but as I said, under pressure. This is Lobsher, Ricardo Lobsher, the fullback from Natal, winning his 3rd cap, and Mother Badze makes the mistake, and Georgia have dropped a few high balls. And it's not raining out there, it's not wet, it's been a dry day in Sydney all day. So not too many excuses.
Well, it started right from the opening kick. Machinelli dropped it, and certainly Mother Badze is continuing.
Badze getting hurt in the process slightly. Teacher of Western cultures, he is. Van Niekerk. Scholz helps. Cock. And Rosso hitting the line at pace. A little bit more like it from the Springboks. Rotenbach to Cock. And this is Bernard Grief.
Straight over the top, Stuart Dickinson is saying to the South Africans, they went the wrong way, out left. It was about a 5-on-2 in South Africa's favour. It says Werner Grief going to ground, and of all people, I think he's penalising Hohart and one of the forwards who actually pushed Hohart over the ball, and he wasn't going to argue about it.
Right, you know your history. Iosef Vissarion-Ivic Dzhugashvili is the most famous ever Georgian. Why?
Can you repeat the question?
Iosef Vissarion-Ivic Dzhugashvili is the most famous ever Georgian. Why? I'll give you a minute or two to think about that. Smarty pants. I'll come back to you. Jim Shiladze. Iloishvili, he's 100 kilograms as well, so that's 208 kilograms, the combined size of the Georgian centres. You fancy playing against those two boys, Jimmy Summer?
They'll be very welcome to partner me in midfield, but I certainly won't play against them.
They're getting away mainly, giving you a quick ball. That's twice now guys have fallen as they know they're going the wrong way, and they just drop straight over it. We'll get them out of the way, please. Okay.
Does that count as a warning for possible yellow cards?
Could be. Got the answer to that question yet? Joseph Stalin. That was Joseph Stalin's original name, and he changed it.
Did he go to Harvard as well, or was it Yale? Well, it's all gone a bit flat for South Africa in these last 10 minutes. They should have really capitalised. 24-6. Certainly have the upper hand in the scrums, no problems at all. But with a few minutes to go to half-time, this is a very commendable effort by Georgia.
It is indeed. That didn't work, though, from the hooker, who's having a little bit of a struggle with his put into the line-out. It was knocked forward at the tail by Chikadze, but you can't really blame him for that.
It begs the question why they went long in the first place, to be frank with you. I'd have put it in the middle or something like that and started a rolling more from there. But they're not going to challenge South Africa in the scrums, I'm afraid. Interesting to see what they do, though, from it.
De Kock, Van Niekerk. Good step from Van Niekerk, and he breaks off, shrugs off 2 or 3 tackles, including one from his opposite number, Chikadze. De Kock to Huhart. Spinelli's going to have to play this.
I thought Van Niekerk got a bit isolated. Well, not isolated, they was slow coming to him. They must have known that De Kock was going to go right inside ball to number 8. Yet the other South African forwards did not have a real sense of urgency to get there with him. He got over the gain line, he did his job. But the rest of them seemed to be a bit slow to get there and get quality quick ball.
Van Niekerk. Stefan Terblanche, this time he manages to hang on to it, and that's good hands. This is Rousseau. Rousseau's quick, the big flank forward, and this is Breton Polsa. Polsa staying on his feet well, creating the platform for the supporting players. Well, they just couldn't take advantage of it. That was a really, really good position from them. They should have been able to organise something more effective from there. Rousseau's having a pretty good first half. He does. He's huge and he's very quick as well. And he's very direct too. Modern Bate, oh, you don't want one of those. Jim Shaladze, and it's touchdown but not forward. No try for Jacques Ferret. Smiles all round. No argument.
Fly half's nightmare. Fortunately, it did go forward. Ferret does not get his try. I'm not sure if he grounded either, to be frank. But it's difficult scrum this will be for Georgia. They need to in and out and into touch and get that time up to 40 minutes pretty quickly. But it's been a very commendable effort from them in this first half. But if you're on the South African coaching team, it's not the night you wanted. It's not the performance you wanted from the fringe players who are going to be stepping up and saying, pick me for the big ones, Mr. Coach, because they haven't done it.
Hanging on grimly on the scrummage, but it's through the 90. So the scrummage goes to South Africa, but a minute and a half to go to the end of the first half. So they'll be looking to take their score past the 30-point mark, which is probably more than they deserve, to be fair. They really are monstering Georgia in the scrummage.
Well, interesting that first scrum's gone to ground. So I think there's a bit of money going on a pushover try here, or going for a pushover try, judging by the last few scrums where South Africa were getting very dominant in this facet of play, although it's an interesting push by the Georgians.
They're just trying to time it just right, aren't they, to get every possible advantage in this scrummage. Mark Velashvili on the tight head side already looks exhausted, and they've held it pretty well. That's Van Niekerk. Rousseau. Look at that Georgian defending, though. That really is tremendous stuff. De Kock. Huhart. Oh, can they find pace in midfield through Polsa? And that's Fury, but it's knocked backwards. Did Chikadze knock on? Referee's playing advantage to South Africa. Huhart chips through. Ooh, and just getting his hand to it was Kaptarashvili.
Too well to get back there. Disappointing option from South Africa, going around the blind side with Van Niekerk, but I think that's half-time, I think.
It is indeed, and Georgia battled extremely well in this first half, but South Africa have scored 3 tries, and they lead Georgia by 24 points to 6.
The new Nissan Sentra. All roads lead to fun.
Next up, Australia, the host nation, gets another chance to tune up for its run in the quarterfinals, taking on Namibia. Another huge point spread in this one, but see what the Wallabies have to serve up. They will more than likely be more impressive than South Africa was in the first half. A 24-6 lead, yes, over Georgia, but not really what I think they had in mind, especially after making all the changes. South Africa was expecting a better response than that.
Yeah, disappointing, the South African performance in the first half, and probably likely due to all the changes that they did make, but that's really no excuse for a side that's rated in one of the top 5 in the world, professional side playing against a side like Georgia. They should expect a better performance.
One change has been particularly effective, though, and that has been at fly half.
Oh, yeah, this man has been outstanding. Here we see him, Hogarth, going over for a try, so showing that he can score as well. But normally fly half is relied upon for his kicking prowess, and he's certainly done that in this game, just taking off huge tracts of land from away from the Georgians, just by that educated boot, finding the space in behind, rolling the ball into touch, and then, of course, kicking for goal. This is a conversion from inside the 5-meter line, close to the sideline, straight through the uprights. So that's good. He's looking good for inclusion in the later rounds for South Africa.
And he is 3 for 3 on conversions as well. So South Africa dominating, yes, but not the way most people expected. Remember, if it means anything to you, it was an 80-point spread in terms of the betters, but the people, the betters, not
betters over the minnows. Yes, right. Yes, yeah. I know anyway, where you're coming from.
Okay, good. Let's talk about the fact that they will have to be better in the game that matters the most to them. That'll be against Samoa next week.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely where they're going, and they're looking for the bigger countries. But you have to look at this performance by the South Africans and say, well, what really are they accomplishing here besides taking a little bit out of their confidence, because it's not a very polished performance. So even the bench players can't really get any confidence from looking at what these quote-unquote second-string players are doing today against the Georgians.
Nope. And I guess the Georgians in the dressing room talking about the fact that they're gaining some pride with this and gaining a little bit of respect by staying close to South Africa. Can they do it for another half? We'll find out when we come back. We'll also have a Maple Leaf moment. Stick around.
Too tired announcers.
The new Nissan Sentra. All roads lead to fun.
So, is the picture as good as they say?
Yeah.
It's gotta be, right? It's digital. Mm-hmm. Hey, these channels aren't all digital. Hey! Hey, buddy!
Most digital cable isn't digital, not on every channel. But Bell ExpressView satellite TV is.
Hey, hey! Whoa, hey! Where's my digital? You didn't think I'd notice? It's digital, right? Every channel.
Bell ExpressView satellite TV.
I'll let you off the warning this time.
Hart then with the restart for the Springboks, and it's Katsadze who climbs. Sapaka takes the ball, and he doesn't look to have the greatest hands in the world, Lawrence Sapaka. He's knocked on a couple of times. He's been caught offside. It's not man of the match stuff.
Well, let's see if South Africa from a set piece will go either way, probably go right, and they can do a decent and well drilled back row move or back line move. They've had all week to practice this team.
Newcap. He's got plenty of time to make his decision. It's a very strange one, really. Crabbing left and then right, and gets to Koch. John Schmidt. 5 yards made by John Schmidt. Hart. Big runners in midfield, and it's Rosso once more. He is really superb at that, Rosso. Oh, that's class. Well, he does add something. He may be lacking in one area, but when it comes to line breaking and hitting the line at pace, he's not a bad exponent.
I know I've got no problems in that department at all. He runs hard and straight, he's got power. All I'm saying is he shouldn't be wearing number 7 on his back. And he runs hard and he runs straight. Better hands, and certainly Hanalidze, number 14 from Georgia, didn't want to know. Outstretched arm, thank you very much.
Good try by the number 7, Danny Rosso. A second try of the match. It was George Shikadze who missed him, really. He had a chance to bring him down, the number 8 for Georgia. George Shikadze has missed several tackles today, the 22-year-old number 8. 100% so far from the boot of Hart. That's his first miss. Yeah, we had a long discussion about the pronunciation of this fellow's name before the game with the South African press, and there's definitely a in there somewhere.
He's played well, Derek. Hart.
Check in.
But there's Russo, hard and straight. And once you get through the first line, it should be pretty easy to finish it off.
Jim Shikadze.
The restarts have been pretty average from both sides tonight. Certainly Georgia haven't been able to do it, and Selwyn Boom won't be too enamoured with that. 2 hands on the ball. Perhaps the lifting wasn't the best either.
He wasn't fully supported, was he? And here's George again, and coming in off the left wing, Kavtarashvili trying to set the ball for Iloshvili. Whistle's gone. No advantage. There were hands on the ground from the South African defenders, so maybe another penalty opportunity. Will they go to the corner, or will Jim Shikadze have a pot of goal?
Just looking at Ricardo Laubscher there, the South African fullback. Day like this, he thought, great, good running game, do a bit of counter-attacking. Well, we haven't seen him in attack, have we, at all, hardly? And he'd be very disappointed with that. Terre Blanche and Tulsa haven't really had a run. South African hands in the ruck there, although to be fair to Scholz, he is on his feet, presuming that it's Scholz that's penalised.
Can he maintain his 100% record? Yes, Ricardo Laubscher, he came into he came into the side for the very exciting Brent Russell, another of the South Africans who made his name through the 7 system. But he in here. This man is right here, right now. He scored all of Georgia's points in the World Cup, and he maintains that record. 29 points to 9 now. There's been 190 tries in this tournament so far after 23.5 matches. Not a bad return. And Georgia are still the only side not to have scored one. It was a bit like Aussie rules there, wasn't it? Sapaka sets it for de Kock. Hart. Dickinson brings the back offside against Georgia.
Another dreadful restart, wasn't it? Georgia allowing the ball to bounce, and it went 12 metres. They still allowed the ball to bounce. Now South Africa not going for goal, going for the corner.
I'll say, Jimmy, you're the expert in this department, but maybe it's the ball they're getting. But South Africa don't seem to have much to offer in midfield.
No, they don't. There doesn't seem to be what I call a touch player, somebody who can get through half gaps and have a runner outside him going through. The ball's not been great. Admittedly, they haven't had quick second phase ball. There's nothing wrong with running scrum ball either, but I would hope Van Niekerk does not pick up from the base anymore, because those moves have been appalling. Instruction given by the referee, and Rudolf Straulich, we haven't seen a sort of cutaway shot of the South African coach, and I suspect he's looking pretty miserable, because basic errors and indiscipline and just lack of organisation, it seems, it has to be said, which is his department, obviously. But there it was, he was just hiding behind his own man, and that was the obstruction quite rightly given by the referee.
I'd like to see a cutaway of Francois Pienaar in the studio. I imagine he's now in the brace position. Modorbadze, Jim Shaladze, Katsadze into the line again. Max Kennelly, we saw one blistering burst from him in the first half. Well, they've turned it over to Cock. Little chip through and chase, but it's into touch.
But there's no sense of urgency about the South Africans, is there? I mean, they could be playing this game at a pace that Georgia could not live with. Just their basic fitness would not live with the pace of a game that South Africa could play. But they just seem to have a complete lack of interest in doing that and upping the ante.
Dunashvili's throw in there, but the ball was slapped out of the hand of Georgadze by Bakis Butha. Again, it's not a great throw in. Its advantage, though, it's a knock forward pass with African hand in that line out, but Dunashvili's having problems with throwing in. Hasn't been quite as bad as Mario Ledesma was here in the last game we did at the Aussie Stadium.
Not that difficult.
No. Fair point. Modorbadze, that Georgian scrummage again under pressure, but Modorbadze did well. He was caught by Rosso. So difficult for a scrum half when the scrum is retreating at such a pace.
Now, who's the decision maker in South Africa now, saying, forwards, let's have the ball, please. We're going to do a couple of backline moves, or a backline move. Get Laubscher in from fullback. But will Van Niekerk pick up from the base, or will they do a back row move? But there's obviously no short side.
Just calm down.
What's the referee saying here?
Just stay straight.
Oh, I'm sure Laubscher would love a run, but anything to get rid of the goose pimples, because he's done nothing all night, has he? I think he's caught one high ball, and that's been about it. Rock solid for de Kock. Now, what can they work here? Can they create through the midfield for the first time? And Laubscher does come into the line, but he's well defended.
No, he's lost control, and they did have Georgian fire.
Well, when you wait to the 49th minute from a set piece to really try and get it through the hands, wide missed ball. It wasn't done particularly well at pace, wasn't a great line or angles from the backs. And Hernelidze was the man that came in.
Yeah, and it was good covering by the left winger. Look at that scrummage yet again. Jim Shaladze has to be quick. He's got a good boot on him, Jim Shaladze. He does make yardage, but failing to find touch. And now Laubscher, they're going to maybe try and move this one this time through Werner Grief. No, the boot is the option. And the way this Georgian line-out has been going of late, that's maybe not a bad option, because they're looking like stealing ball all the time.
Excellent kick. Excellent kick. Werner Grief. Hands haven't been the best.
Played full-back against Uruguay, Werner Grief. You see that line out. It's really becoming very disorganised indeed, and they're being helped actually by South Africans knocking the ball forward, because the accuracy of the throwing in, well, he's just basically lost it now. Dadunashvili and is throwing in. Badze, and they pick up at number 8. It's knocked forward by Chikadze, but they're trying everything in their powers to somehow get the ball away from the tail of that scrummage, because they really are being squeezed hard.
Yes, absolutely right. It's the only option they've got really, and Chikadze had to do that. Lost it forward in the tackle. We're pretty much back to the same position of the South African scrum a few minutes ago. So could this be another move?
Will anyone know what they're doing? De Kock. Hart. Well, little step, good little step it was by Werner Greif, but it's another error, another knock forward by the Springboks when they were in a good position. So Georgia quite happily running the ball because they know they've got the advantage here. Match Kennelly. Monibadze, Jim Shiladze. Oh, it's a poor pass. And it's Dadunashvili, the hooker, who's either decided to play like Sean Fitzpatrick or he's out of gas. And he was taking up a position on the left wing inside his own 22 there. And that's a relieving kick. Just takes the heat off for a second or two. The heat might come back on pretty quickly though. Here's Loubser. Brayton Pulja. The wingers haven't really had much ball for South Africa either. We know Brayton Pulja can run, and the interception, and it's Dinibulidze for Georgia. They want quick ball here. Jim Shiladze looking to spread it, and there's an overlap here, and it's the big flanker Siklari. Listen to the crowd here in Sydney. Jim Shiladze, well, the defenders are back now. It's going to be difficult for the Georgians to break down this Springbok defence, but Katsadze, all 17 stone of the skipper, has a go, and they get the penalty under the post.
You get 6.
Could be yellow card time. Normally when the referee stops it, and it's Scholz he's asking to speak to. South African counter-attack went badly wrong, to say the least. Let's have a listen in.
I spoke about players killing the ball there. You've lay over the ball, you've killed it. It's not acceptable, okay? They're on attack, off you go.
Another huge cheer in Sydney, and Andrew Scholz becomes the 20th yellow card of this Rugby World Cup. No sendings off as yet. And South Africa, well, Georgia deciding to keep the pressure up, and this is where Dadunashvili has to take a couple of deep breaths. The hooker, he's getting a pat on the buttocks there from his mates. You know, come on, give us a good ball here.
We've got to be a bit patient too, George. Don't rush it. Just take your time, get organised.
It's well taken by Siklari. Listen to the cheers, and they've scored. Georgia have got their first try of the tournament. The only side up to now who hadn't managed to breach the whitewash, and it's the hooker who's done it. Dadunashvili. What a moment for the 21-year-old from Nîmes.
Well, they run over pretty much unopposed too. Good line-out, good throw to start it from the try scorer himself. And he sweeps round. Van Niekerk's drawn in. Thank you very much. Nobody lays the hand. And is he a happy boy?
Well, it's one of the great pipe and slippers moments, isn't it? Have I ever told you about the day I scored a try in the Rugby World Cup against the former world champions in Sydney? Well, let me just run you through it one more time. Where's that video?
Well, we started out by saying, can the South African side get into their first team? Well, I think a few of these Georgians are going to get into their first team.
Is this Australia playing here? I missed something. The atmosphere is sensational. 29 16. You know, what's happening out there? I can't wait to hear Francois now.
And they're down to 14 men, South Africa. Stokes in the bin.
It's not forward, was it? No. Yeah, it has gone forward. I thought that Kopi Oleani had knocked it backwards. It was the second man coming in, actually.
And normality is resumed, the dropping of a restart, because both sides have been doing it all night. Just when they've done the hard work, easy take from the kickoff. Now South Africa, what can you offer?
Georgia are pretty close to being penalised for driving before the ball comes in. And again, it's almost survival instinct, isn't it?
Well, they'll probably have a go here because they're down to 7 men, South Africa, in the scrum.
And it's Polsa coming in off the wing. And into the line comes Lobsher and that's Stefan Terblanche. One of the great South African wingers in his 37th appearance, but Georgia got some lift. The adrenaline is pumping through those veins now.
But actually, it was much better hands from the South Africans. A bit lateral across the field. Terblanche was dragged into touch, but at least it got through the hands. Laubs had a bit of a run. And because they were down to 7 men, they actually ran the ball through the back line.
Andusvili to the front of that line out to Giorgadze, and that's a little bit better. That's maybe what they should try and do more is get the ball to the front of that lineup, especially inside their own 22, because whenever they throw it deep, they make a mess of it. Here's Ricardo Lobsher. And the cock is outside here, and now it's Brayton Polsa scampers, and I'm not sure why he passed the ball there, because it looked like it had a clean run to the line, and now it's Eloisvili who gathers it for Georgia. Well, I'd like to see that again to see exactly why Polsa made that decision at that time. As Jim Shalaji clears, and Jim Shalaji again misses touch, and his forwards are not going to thank him for that. Here's Werner Grief, big overlap wide. Pretty good pass too. Stefan Terblanche trying to straighten things up. Tackle coming in from Herner Lidze. An African advantage. Here's to call. Puhat. Nearkirk, Polsa. It's forward, but the referee brings them back for a penalty. And Scholz is halfway through his sin bin spell. And the referee again, Stuart Dickinson, is going to have a word.
Just too high, mate. Okay, as you step back in, you're off. Step it down.
Decision time for South Africa. They're going for the touchline rather than the penalty.
Giorgadze, the man who was spoken to there, is Derek Puhat. Nice touch, and that's the reason why the penalty was given.
Brayton Polsa, as you say, I thought he had the line at his mercy. He didn't pass. I mean, didn't look to. Well, he passed to a Georgian player for a start.
Taken by Botha. Stefan Terblanche coming in off the wing. Rosso going for a hat-trick of tries. 8 meters short. De Kock. Muderbadze, the referee again, is playing an advantage. Puhat. Good little chip that, wasn't it? Good little chip. The referee wants to have a look. It was Jacques Fourie taking the time out. Alan Lewis on the far side, he wasn't 100% sure.
Touch and goal. Thank you. You got that? Touch and grounding.
Well, Alan Lewis has just said to the referee he thinks it's okay. We'll make a decision, Mr. Lewis. That's what you're there for. I think it's try time myself. No wrong with that at all. Alan Lewis could have seen that quite comfortably. I don't know why we're going up to the TV official, the video referee they call it, but we are upstairs. Alan Lewis is perfectly positioned, I have to say.
The only doubt might be if his right elbow was on the whitewash. No, I think that's a try.
Not a doubt, wasn't there? Come on, you know what the result is. I don't know, again, as I say, Alan Lewis is spot on.
Downward pressure before his right elbow was anywhere near the white line. There's the freeze frame we were waiting for. And Derek Huchart's already preparing to take the conversion, so he's pretty confident.
can't believe they haven't made the decision. Why they're seeing another replay, I've got no idea at all. That admittedly looks close to the elbow, but the front-on replay shows clearly this is the one. This is the one to look at. Watch the ball. Forget the elbow. Watch the ball. It's on the ground now. It's a try. Let's get on with it.
Joël Dumais is the television official.
After all that, he'll probably give a 5-yard scrum.
You got a decision? Okay, one more.
He wants another one. Another replay. He wants the shot from the helicopter.
Well, this isn't going to tell him. That is the worst angle to look at it from, because you can't see the line parallel with the ball or the hand. That's a useless angle. This is the angle. This is the only angle to see it from. Ball's down now. That's downward pressure.
You there, Joel? Okay, so it is a try. Okay, we're right to give the decision. Okay, time back on.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Why are you not the television official, Jamie? Because you're very good at it.
Well, it's pretty simple. Well, I had a pop out of Lewis for not making the decision himself. He's right there. That was the only angle to look at it from. There's no other angle was relevant in my book. Good little kick. Let's get back to why the try was scored. It was a good little kick through from how hard.
Well, that took 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes, that decision. I mean, it's great if you're the Georgian front row, but not for the crowd or anybody else, is it?
Yeah. I think what we're going to find, though, is the Georgians not going to be helped by a yellow card soon, because they have certainly transgressed in that area.
Conversion is successful. ITV's huge World Cup weekend just keeps coming, of course. Don't forget, Sunday, ITV1 from 7 a.m. We've seen this enough. The crucial match which may decide second place in Pool A. The Argentinians against Keith Wood's Irish Marauders. I'll be in Adelaide with Jamie Salmon for that. And that's followed on ITV1 at 9:30 by the Pool C dogfight between England's pride and the dangerous physical Samoans. All coming up exclusively live from your home of the 2003 Rugby World Cup, ITV, and the website, of course, itv.com/RWC.
And as you saw, another wonderful restart by South Africa. Let the ball bounce, point one, then got offside. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. A restart, there's just no excuse for that at all. None whatsoever. Quite appalling.
Kerviri Kashvili, the 19-year-old student, is on. He's the youngest player in the Georgian squad with the longest name. Again, that at least they're trying to work moves in the line-out. They know they've got problems to the tail. It's been a bit scrappy there. So Dundashvili, who the try scored, didn't go 5, but you know, a little bit of variety. I think he realised he's got to maybe keep it short or shorter.
Yeah, but Scholz is still off the field. I'd have just repeated what they did to get the try. There he is again.
Fullback.
Good lad. He's just an anagram, that fella. Another replacement coming on, Kamazaridze, who, again, if you have watched the 7 series on ITV, you'll have seen him play, and he's a good 7s operator. 30 caps for his country at 15s. Well, Georgia managing to come up with that one through Chikadze. They've set it well too. Now Dundashvili goes in to clear it out for Motorbadze. They've got 2 thumping great centres, huge guys, Iloshvili and Katsadze. Kamazaridze's a big guy too, and trying to dart his way through is Kerviri Kashviri. South African down injured, so an extra man for Georgia if they can take advantage of it. Katsadze, Motorbadze. And this is Dundashvili, a try scorer. Oh, he was bounced hard by Rottenbach. Motorbadze, South African player, looked to me as it was in the way between the scrum half and the out half. Stuart Dickinson is going to give the penalty to Georgia. There were at least 2 infringements there, but I think the first one was for getting between. Yeah.
Please go back.
Yeah, lazy. Yeah. Thank you, Stuart.
Going for goal, racking up the points.
Lawrence Opaka, blood injury. They've got 2 props on the bench. South Africa, Dale Sampton and Christo Besaiden-Hout, who started against England. Taking over the kicking duties in the absence of Jim Shiladze is the 19-year-old wine-making student. Skydiver in his spare time. Mirak Kerveri-Kashvili. And he parachutes Georgia up to 19 points, and it's 36-19. It's a very respectable performance, a very respectable scoreline for the men from Georgia.
It most certainly is, as South Africa, I think, are beginning to ring the changes as well. Scholz has come back on from the sin bin.
Joe van Niekerk is replaced as well. Now another dreadful restart. Really is pandemonium on both sides of the restart. Actually, even though there was that pandemonium, Motorbadze had plenty of time. And coming on to replace Van Niekerk is Schalk Burger, whose father played for the Springboks, huge man that he was. And Schalk Burger makes his debut for his country, and Joel Stransky was telling me he's a man to watch for the future. Is going to be a real talent. That's Fury Loubser, hit hard, very hard by Herner Lidze. De Kock, Hohat. It's Rosso in midfield again, and Schmidt gets support from Bakis Botha.
I think Bakis Botha just left a little reminder there, and that's what the crowd's reacting to.
Kerveri-Kashvili, and he's tiny too, not the sort of guy you want to see thumped by a fella as big as Bakis Botha.
But unlucky when you're off the pitch as well. Thought the touch judge might have done something about that. Now can South Africa do something from a set piece?
John Schmidt. Well, there's a lot of work to do in the Springbok camp. It is, yeah, it's the second 15, we know that, but it has been a thoroughly disheartening display all round by them. Oh, the squeeze, the second drive coming on. Here's Berger. Did well, Berger, strong man. De Kock, Hohat, need to miss players out here. Oh, the interception, almost from Kavtarashvili. Oh, well, he's speaking pure Kertuli there, the 33-word Georgian alphabet. I'm sure the language wasn't sweet.
I can't believe this move. The Georgian wingers have always come in for the extra man and left the last man alone. They always do that. They've done it all night, and yet the South Africans haven't spotted it. So what's the point of doing a missed pass to the fullback when the left winger is going to come in for him? It's just it beggars belief at times. It's just somebody out there has not got the vision.
Berger, De Kock, Loubser. Good tackle from Motorbadze and a knock forward.
The defensive pattern they're running basically means the left winger will come in for the fullback, leaving the South African right winger free on a one-on-one with the Georgian fullback. That's just their defensive pattern. Fine, no problem. Everybody knows where they stand. But South Africa, and Loubser in particular, keeps getting clobbered.
Well, the Georgians are finding that particular move very easy to defend against. In touch there is Victor Diriboulidze from Valence in France, and a few problems on the floor. Already had an incident off the pitch involving Bakis Bouta.
I think it's the debutant, Skolberger, who was involved there. Bakis Bouta there as well.
Referee calling a timeout. He attempts to get to the root of the problem. Might see what happened here. Here's Berger with Diriboulidze.
It's been good so far. You're new on. I know you're keen, but let's not be silly, okay? Just calm down, okay? We'll just play the game.
Too bad.
All right, don't pull him. Grab him. Okay. You're right, mate.
Traditional values, the handshake. Don't see that too often these days after a bit of fisticuffs.
I see a throat shake occasionally.
Skolberger's father's in the crowd tonight. Proud moment for him.
Rosso lost forward, advantage to Georgia. I beg your pardon, to South Africa, because it was the Georgian defender who actually knocked the ball forward. But again, credit to the Georgian defence. The Springboks are finding it very difficult to break them down.
It's not controlled play by South Africa, though, is it at all? They're just too loose. There's just no unity there. There's no understanding whatsoever, and it's a backward step this tonight for South Africa in their campaign. And John Bowe, the Samoan coach, might be having well, he might have started with coffee, might be having a gin and tonic, having watched this for the first 67 minutes.
Yeah, it looks very ad hoc, this performance, as if it is lacking in structure. Berger just outside the Georgian 22. De Kock, Huchart, John Schmidt, the captain, just inside the Georgian 22 now. Dale Santon, the replacement prop forward, is on the pitch. Huchart. Rosso, he really is strong. He's a brute of a man, is Rosso. With acceleration too. Dale Santon in his first Rugby World Cup match. De Kock, straight running from Schmidt, picked up by Huchart. Bakis Bouta, straight running by Bakis Bouta. 2 tries against Uruguay, and now 1 against the Georgians. And that was a little bit better from South Africa last, breaking down this beleaguered and exhausted Georgian defence.
It's been a long time coming, though. The Georgians were all over the place. As you say, they're pretty exhausted now. Bakis Bouta takes his chance well. He wasn't looking to pass, was he? Off his right foot, side step, straighten it up. But Georgia have done very well to last this long. Well, he's been waiting a long time to do that, I suppose.
Looks like he's getting ready for Sunday. Well, look at the shirt. Just loosening up. But South Africa passed the 40-point mark now. 41 points to 19 with 11 minutes to go.
Here's the try one more time. Again, badly out of the hand there. It's Hahad who gets the ball away to Bakis Bouta. He's a bit of an athlete, this lad, actually, to be fair to him. He's a big bloke, but he can run.
He's the man who picked up the 8-week ban, you might remember, after the match against Australia in Brisbane this season in the Tri-Nations. It was Werner Grief. Oh, well, the whistle's gone as Kamazaridze bursts away. What can Georgia do in this last 10 minutes? De Kock. Hohart. In good ground there to Derek Hohart. Georgia lost 46 points to 9 to Samoa. The referee whistle blew very quickly there, but it was good anticipation by the Georgians. At least they're being aware.
And it shows that the lack of mental concentration from the South Africans as well.
Good take by Chikadze. Better line out. Works much better when they go to the front. Now, Dunashvili, I think, is beginning to enjoy life as an international rugby player. Did look very nervous at the beginning of the hooker, but that try, well, it could be, probably will be the highlight of his rugby life, I've no doubt.
The other thing is, Georgia have not used their forward substitutes and replacements. So this aid have done remarkably well.
Hohart. Stefan Terblanche in off the right wing. Oh, and another error. And it's advantage to Georgia. And it just looked slapdash and haphazard.
And straight across the park. Nobody was running in straight. Nobody's changing the pace of the attack. And I have to say the backs have been really disappointing. I mean, that just went across the field, looking for the inside pass in the end. I mean, just very, very average indeed, to put it mildly.
It looked like they spent the last couple of weeks on Cape Town sun loungers, not in a training camp the way they're playing tonight. Maybe that's slightly unfair and being hard on them, but Chikadze again gains ground. And the back row defence from the scrummage there just looked static, as if they weren't particularly interested. Knocked forward though by the replacement out half, Kerviri Kashvili. De Kock, Hohart, Grief. That was a high tackle. Yeah. Well, the little replacement out half gets away very quickly. Kerviri Kashvili, and Katsadze's in there. There's been 2 or 3 incidents now in this match, so the referee's got to put a stamp on things.
Take him back, mate. Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's got to be yellow, I suspect.
Time out.
I think it was Terblanche who got the head high, but it wasn't Terblanche who was having a pop afterwards. It was Bernard Grief, I think.
High tackle, but I haven't got the number. Number 10. Okay. Number 10, Georgia. Yep. I'm going to give him a yellow.
Number 10's left the field.
21. Yeah.
21 it is.
Just want to confirm that's him there. That one there. 21, please. Number 21. Yeah.
Just say the curly-haired one.
Yeah. The one who looks like Harpo Marx. That one.
It's the right decision. It is the right decision, without question.
Let's get the guys settled down and play the game, okay?
2 yellow cards in this game now. Hendro Schultz in the first instance, and here's the instant again. It was Terblanche. It was high.
Well, he was off his feet, absolutely right. I mean, it wasn't a straight arm, to be fair, and the fist wasn't closed or anything like that, but it didn't need the South Africans to have a pop at him either. Referee had seen it.
Bakis Botha takes the ball at the front of that line out for the Springboks. 7 minutes to go. Has been far from a dominating performance though by South Africa. That's Dale Santon. Slow ball. Was that offside? Referee says no, that's fine. Play on. The ball was out. Here's Katsadze. He's head high. It's getting a bit nasty out there. Some dirty play entering the game.
Well, Bernard Grief has lost his cool, I reckon, in this game. He certainly had a good smack then.
Kamazaridze. Oh, and there's some crunching tackles going in. And a lot of them are, above sternum level now. The man who was hit this time was Henrelidze.
It was too late. He pushed him first.
There was an earlier tackle on Katsadze. Who could look after himself at 17 stones. Kamazaridze, who played full-back against England, play on the wing, versatile player. And now they do bring on a couple of replacements, Georgia, and that front row deserves the respite, I can tell you. 16 and 17, Giorgadze and Nikolayenko, the hooker and prop. Nikolayenko, who plays for Montpellier, and replaced is Mark Velashvili and Dadunashvili, the try scorer.
Number 7.
They've made a big contribution tonight. It is amazing how Georgia have developed. They only became independent after Gorbachev's perestroika in 1991. So they've only been playing rugby at this top level for over a decade, just over a decade. Bakis Buta, Siglari with the tackle, and now de Kock to Huhart. Outside the 22. Kamazaridze takes on his man and beats Brayton Pulser. Eventually tackled by Werner Grief. Brayton Pulser, both feet in touch.
There he goes. Pulser misses him, lobs it inside. That's miles in touch, absolutely miles in touch.
The ex-400-metre runner, Brayton Pulser, plays Super 12 with Western Province, but has suffered with injury. And that's the replacement hooker who puts the ball in, Giorgadze. It's not a good drive by the Georgians. Big lump of a lad, Didi Boridze, number 5. Again, he's the cornerstone of that maul. And Kamazaridze comes into the line. Schultz jumps all over him. Well, can they move it here? Giorgadze, the second row forward, knocks forward. So South Africa have a chance to break. And the referee's going to give a scrummage for the knock forward a few moments ago by that man, who's now gone down to ground, Sergo Giorgadze.
I've got it. Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Oh, I don't need that in the midriff. And then when South Africa could counter, they couldn't capitalise on it.
Well, Jason and the Argonauts came to search for the Golden Fleece in Georgia, and Georgia have achieved their own Golden Fleece tonight by scoring a try, and that's going to really make their World Cup, to breach that Springbok line. And they would have hated to go home from a Rugby World Cup without scoring a try. And as I said, there's a lot of credit that they deserve to take for this performance tonight.
Well, the margin at the moment is only 22 points, which is commendable to say the least. I mean, nobody would have thought that this was going to be the scoreline in any shape or form. So we didn't think that South Africa could be this bad, to be frankly.
Yori Muller, replacement centre, playing against England. Berger, who just bounces off Siglari. Well, there's the strength that Joel Stransky was talking about before the match. This young type, young tearaway. And here's Fury. Touched forward though, advanced by Georgian hand.
Play the lost forward first, play the first defence.
Well, they're getting the advantages there in those situations. They're not taking advantage of them, and they're having to be called back. Another replacement coming on for Georgia, Ziganidze, who was the captain against Samoa, number 8. The former water polo international replaces George Chikadze.
Well, here's a golden opportunity for South Africa to run a decent move. Great position on the field. Can they be creative?
It's very central, picked up by Berger. De Kock, Huhart. And Yori Muller is just thrashed into touch by this ever-vigilant Georgian defence, ever-enthusiastic Georgian defence. Well, they find the energy from somewhere.
Well, South Africa made it a lot easier for them by running across the field, nobody coming in on an angle, nobody coming in with additional pace. The back play has been dreadful.
Good touch kick that was. And it wasn't actually. It looked like it had gone a lot further than that from Kamazaridze.
Well, there's Rosso, who's been outstanding tonight in broken play, and that's about all.
Well, Sandon to the line out. Bakis Bota has been good in those positions, running hard and straight and with some pace. Brayton Pulsar again, he's sort of taking it static and not coming in on the burst. It's all very sluggish indeed. Now De Kock goes on the break. De Kock looks for support. It's Rosso. Rosso for the hat-trick. Not forward.
Georgia did well to stop Rosso, that's for sure. He's a big man, isn't he? Oh, just holding on. He's looking to pass it. That's the problem. And in fact, Furry had one of his feet in touch as well. And Paul Honas, the referee, the touch judge, has spotted it. Gone forward as well. But South Africa, a massively disappointing night for me. I'd question their motivation when they came on this pitch and their mental capability, because they didn't come out here to play a test match and to step up to the plate, and a few of these guys to try and get in their top test team. And Rudolf Strahli's learned precious little tonight in his World Cup campaign, but hats off to Georgia for the guts and the manner in which they played tonight.
Badze fades through the 90. So South African put in into the final minute. 41 points to 19 to South Africa. They led 24-6 at the break and really have expected them to pull away in the second half as Georgia tired. Hasn't been like that at all. This is Berger. Oh, Berger is so strong. And it is a maybe final try here for South Africa. He'll be delighted. His family, his whole family's going to be delighted with that. As Jamie says, his father's in the crowd. It's on his international debut. And South Africa, 46 points to 19 now.
Well, look at the hole there that Berger gets through. It's pretty wide, but he finishes it off. Naturally a happy boy, nothing better than A, making your debut, and B, scoring on it. You can't beat that. That's wonderful for the young man, and they do have considerable hopes. There's a lot of young players in the side, and perhaps they're the ones that can take South Africa forward in the next few years.
Yes, they did win the World Under-21 Championship, so that's where the future lies for South Africa. Derek Hookart misses, and the final whistle is blown by Stuart Dickinson. It has not been a consummate performance by any stretch of the imagination by South Africa tonight. Yes, they scored a few tries, but they have not played well. The final score, South Africa 46, Georgia 19, and we'll hear the analysis and the thoughts.
Introducing a higher level of value. The 2004s from Hyundai. With more